Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old to history to anecdotes to really wherever our whims take us. The confusing histories of characters, a pastime of mine. At this point we've met the Golden, Silver, and Bronze Age Cheetahs, but neither have as convoluted a history as the post-crisis Cheetah. That is Barbara Ann Minerva, arguably for some the best known. Although again that depends when you're coming to comics and also where you're coming from, because different adaptations, different versions, you know. Also, Barbara's gonna gain some notoriety at this point because of the Wonder Woman 1984 movie, upcoming at the time of this recording. Barbara is the first cheetah to actually transform into a cheetah woman and have some kind of official mystical powers. Even though both cheetahs before would be fast, like faster than they should be, but no, it wasn't actually because of any actual powers that they had. Sometimes they got special claws and like attributes or accessories. They were running on adrenaline, cheetah power. But let's take a look at the cheetah whose powers went awry, because she wasn't a virgin, and who starts off life as a British archaeologist, which means that if we were doing a read-through, you would get to hear my dodgy British accent again. We haven't heard that since Spider-Woman. It's been too long, so get excited. Of course, before we get started, I'm Sasha, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Join us on this comic book journey. Also, if you're feeling so inclined, hit that join button to help support the channel. But whatever you do, I'm glad you're here, and it's cheetah time. So if you've been around this channel for a while, you have heard the talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths, but we're going to talk about it again because it directly pertains to this version of the cheetah. Now, Crisis on Infinite Earths, which occurred in 1985, was a massive crossover event that collapsed the DC multiverse and created one Earth, and also attempted to clean up / streamline continuity, while also using it as an opportunity to make the changes to canon that they wanted. One character to change massively after this event was Wonder Woman, and the changes made to her would ripple down through other characters. Wonder Woman was created during the Golden Age and is one of the DC Trinity, not in that she's a founding member of the League or anything like that, but in that she is a pillar of the DC universe, and in fact of the comic universe. Her, Superman, and Batman all helped cement the golden age of comics. While other characters may have been popular, they don't have that same iconography. She's always been around, but in canon post-Crisis, she would have a vastly different starting point, even though it would play into origins that she'd already had, the being made of clay thing. What was changed largely was the timing in of which she came to man's world as an ambassador and an emissary. She would appear at the concurrent time of the publication, so she hadn't been active since World War II anymore. In fact, that was explained as being her mom via time travel, but kinda not, and other convoluted explanations. Wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff. So she was no longer a founding member of the Justice League, because that wasn't possible because she wasn't there yet, which is why Black Canary was then placed on the team as a founding member. Gotta keep that balance. Also, she was okay with deadly force, in contrast to Clark and Bruce, willing to do what was necessary. That's how we get the Maxwell Lord neck snap. Because of this, she was also no longer capable of rescuing Donna, who was already an adult. So Donna would be sent even more into a tailspin of her origins, which we've discussed before on this channel. This was because Donna was already created by accident, so her origin already had a bit of a struggle getting started. This would also mean that Diana could not have fought the original Cheetah, Priscilla Rich, who was still the original Cheetah in the post-Crisis timeline. Only she had fought the Golden Age Wonder Woman, who was Diana's mom. But the Cheetah is an iconic part of Wonder Woman lore, one of her better known villains, and so she had to be around, she had to have a cheetah. But this cheetah would have a completely different origin. Cheetah, or rather Barbara Minerva, would appear in issue 7 in 1987 of the George Perez, Len Wein, and Greg Potter era. At first, her origin would not be outlined. That would happen in issue 29, wherein a paralyzed Wonder Woman would just have to lie there and listen to it. Minerva was an archaeologist and still an heiress, but using her money to fund her passion for archaeology. She's also depicted as obsessive and slightly neurotic. She is seeking out a specific African tribe because she's heard about a goddess, a cheetah cat goddess. The expedition goes awry. We lose a lot of people. They come into an area that's just full of tribal warfare. In the village they're actually seeking, almost everybody is dead, except for one priest, Chuma, the priest who actually guards what she's looking for. The cheetah, incidentally, is dying as a result of having been given the wrong sacrifices, that of her own priests. Because to become the cheetah, you need to offer a sacrifice to the god and then consume it and then become the cheetah in exchange for immortality and the like. Minerva finds herself alone with the guardian of the god, Kartaga, a plant god, but also referred to as a cat god even though he is a plant, but he creates the cheetah, so go with it. It's his leaves mingled with the blood of the cheetah, and then there's a ceremony where you adorn yourself in kind of cheetah-like patterns. and then you transform. This involves an ancient ritual that marries the participant to the god. With the previous cheetah dead, a new host is needed, and Minerva eagerly volunteers. She's seen the power that the cheetah can wield and she wants it. However, the magic is ancient, nay archaic. The ceremony is designed for a virgin, as the god is a jealous god and doesn't want to share his bride with anybody else. Like being a nun, only you get to transform into a cheetah. And well, Barbara wasn't exactly saving herself for secret African ceremonies. This means the transformation doesn't go quite as planned. Yes, she transforms into a cheetah and gets the power, but when she transforms back, her body is damaged. She's frail, actually rendered crippled. It also leaves her sickly, but it means when she's in the cheetah form, she also has an excess of bloodlust and rage, and it's slightly unhinging her. And she already wasn't the most stable to begin with. She starts off wanting to get her hands on Wonder Woman's golden lasso for reasons, but that just transitions into her wanting to kill Wonder Woman out of annoyance. That is at being bested by her, and she also wants to prove that she's a capable villainess, which is extra important to her because she was active before Wonder Woman, which we'll see in some works that come out later on, like Catwoman when in Rome. She would also end up killing the first cheetah, Priscilla Rich. We're gonna mention it every time. We gotta follow everything, lay all the steps. We don't want you to have to go home and put up one of those cork boards with string attached to everything. Priscilla Rich had been writing disparaging books and articles and making comments about this new cheetah, and well, Barbara's not standing for it. She was also egged on a bit by Zoom, and he postulated that if she killed the original cheetah, it would make her even faster. The two of them were having kind of a thing at that point. Even though Zoom was still really hung up on his ex-wife, who he still felt was his wife, it was a moment. Gotta go fast. So Minerva would actually transform into a cheetah creature and give us the naked cheetah who is conveniently missing nipples look. Though sometimes she's given a jumpsuit or costume because propriety. She would eventually get the ability to transform between her human and cheetah forms because of Cersei. But I mean, can we really trust Cersei? She can turn a man into a horse, but not back, except sometimes. That was a reference to Supergirl's horse, Comet, the super horse. We got continuity on this channel. The thing is, over at DC Editorial, there were rumblings about wanting to move away from the whole African god plot, mostly because of the virgin aspect, with some viewed as problematic or as slut-shamey, rather than an indication or a nod to the requirements held by most ancient ceremonies, contending that the very ceremonies were sexist and hence should not be referenced or should be modified, while others felt there was nothing wrong with the origin, and others simply felt it was a okay, but why kind of origin. But why though? Well, the time was coming for it to change. Enter the New 52. DC's company-wide relaunch that changed their timeline, introducing a world where superheroes had just begun to operate, except for Batman, who got a head start to accommodate all his Robins. Other people got 5 years, he got 10. This event was initially caused by Barry Allen manipulating the time stream to go back in time and save his mom, even though he knows better. But it would be retconned to being caused by the Watchman's Dr. Manhattan, who was manipulating the timeline after he found what he believed to be the focal point, which was the origin of Superman. This was also used to explain why the Superman was so different in the New 52 from how he normally was, and not, you know, the lawsuit, the trademark suit. That was a thing. However, that retcon would come years later, and by that point there had already been a soft reboot or relaunch to undo or change or soften some of the things that had happened in the New 52. But first we need to get to the New 52. Many characters had their origins revamped just cause. Cheetah was one of them. She was still Barbara Ann Minerva, but the compressed timeline did away with legacy in most cases. So those previous cheetahs, both meta and canon, were now represented as aliases this cheetah had used on her crime sprees. Even Sebastian. Take that, Sebastian. This Minerva grew up in Idaho in an all-woman commune called Amazonia that worshipped the idea of Amazons. She would become Cheetah after she cut herself on a mystic dagger that belonged to a lost Amazonian tribe, and she would become possessed by the goddess of the hunt that would turn her into a human-cheetah hybrid. It would also give her claws that could at times cause other people to transform, which I appreciate because she scratched Superman and we get a Cheetah Superman. Cheetah Man. Take that, Catman. Although no shade to Catman, who is a prince among men, who if you meet him in a kitchen late at night will make you eggs. This Minerva knew Wonder Woman pre-transformation and was an expert in antiquities and was actually really excited to meet Diana. However, when she started to explain her beliefs and how she grew up to her, well, Diana sort of kind of laughed. And, well, I mean, that's a reason to become a supervillain if I ever heard one. How dare she? Enemies for life. Definitely worth stabbing yourself, for yes, she stabbed herself. Because of this, Wonder Woman believed that the knife had corrupted her and kind of approached her from a but they're still good in you standpoint, because they were kind of quasi-friends, sorta. More friends in Rebirth, which we're actually there now. Rebirth. This would be initially caused by Wally West re-entering the time stream, and he would touch people and give them back some of their memories, and we would also return the Superman from the previous timeline to this one, and one day we'll discuss all that in detail, but basically it was a let's kind of dial back some of the stuff we did because people didn't like a lot of it. When it came to Cheetah, there seemed to be a consensus of, you know what, that post-crisis origin actually wasn't that bad. Can we kind of bring that back and just ditch the virgin part? Now it would be revealed. Cheetah's true origin. That's what they like to say about retcons, like, it's real this time. They would be able to make this fit because as of Rebirth, Wonder Woman was struggling with her memories or having false memories. So she would remember things from the post-crisis timeline, but also from the New 52 one. That allowed you to kind of work in what you needed to. So now we have Barbara Ann Cavendish, and she's British again. Goodbye Idaho upbringing, dodgy accent. Welcome back Midlands accent, which for me is just a northern accent. The bunny man. That's, you know, I'm so sorry. All of my British accents are questionable at best. She became obsessed with Greek mythology, especially after the death of her mother, and Amazons, and believing that they existed and trying to find them. Something that her father tried to quash, feeling that it was a silly hobby and that really she just needed to accept that life was harsh and unfair, which is why she would take her mother's maiden name, which was Minerva. She would go on and try to find and prove the existence of Amazons, even though her colleagues would say she was mad. She did not succeed. However, she was introduced to Diana while she was teaching university via Lieutenant Etta Candy. This version of Minerva also had a bit of a thing with Etta Candy. Pre-Cheetah. She would actually help Diana acclimate and become Wonder Woman, and the two would become friends. At this point, she is invited by Veronica Cale to investigate the plant god. And I mean, it goes kinda better. I mean, in the fact that she doesn't have to murder anybody herself to transform. However, Wonder Woman gave her a GPS to keep tabs on her, and that is disabled by the people that she's with. And so she is transformed and taken as the bride of the plant god, and Wonder Woman isn't there, which causes her to have resentment because she feels that Wonder Woman abandoned her, just left her to her fate. Wonder Woman would actually manage to cure her temporarily by binding the plant god, but she would voluntarily become the Cheetah again because Steve Trevor and Etta Candy were threatened. And when she would retake the mantle, she would be more resigned to it. The idea that she was grotesque and in a way deserved to be the Cheetah. This version definitely has the most direct connection to Wonder Woman with the whole friendship angle. And some feel that's a big improvement. One thing is certain, no matter who it is, the Cheetah is going to exist so long as Wonder Woman does. Even if they don't bust her out all the time, she is someone they do come back to, like, oh yeah, right, Cheetah. So that was Barbara Ann Minerva. Not too hard to follow, I think. Are you here for the plant god origin, or were you offended by the origin itself or by the not being a virgin so it went wrong aspect? Do you like the friendship angle? How awful would it be to date Zoom? Answer all those questions and more down below. And while you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to spend it discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.